Yo, what is going on? It's Chris Wynn. Welcome back to the podcast, the All In podcast, where you go all in on your life, your business, your finances. And today I want to talk about sales specifically. So if you're a salesperson, entrepreneur, businessman, man or woman, and you want to get into sales, this is going to be the video for you to watch. So how I got into sales, I tripped and fell into sales. A lot of people, when they grow up, they don't think, man, I want to grow up and be a salesperson or a sales professional. That's not how it works. And within this first 30 seconds here, I do want to thank you for your time. Time is the most valuable thing on this earth. So if you're taking the time to watch this, I appreciate you. Don't forget to hit that like button, shoot me a comment, subscribe, and maybe shoot me a DM. Okay, so I'm gonna dive right into it. So my first sales job ever. I just want to say, guys, sales will completely change your life. If you are in sales right now, it probably has changed your life. It is a roller coaster, a lot of ups and downs, but when you master the craft and you take some time to really focus on your craft of, closing, negotiating, persuading, influencing people, building up that character charisma, being able to build rapport and talk with your customers, it's a very rewarding field, right? So I've been in sales for about 7 years now. So I started off selling insurance for just over 2 years, State Farm, and then got into the car business 4.5 years. And then now I'm transitioning into like real estate, solar sales, things of that nature. But sales totally changed my life. I remember before I got into sales, when I was washing dishes or, working as a landscaper, I was not earning a lot of income. So, minimum wage, stuff like that, $10 an hour. So when I got into sales, I actually went after I got fired from washing dishes, and I went on Indeed, right? I got fired from washing dishes at the lowest point of my life, and I went on Indeed and I looked up no experience needed. So I found a job for State Farm. It said no experience needed. All you gotta do is make calls. So got the interview, got the job, right? I'm gonna fast forward that. So the pay was $10 an hour to make phone calls, right? And that's actually part of the reason why I'm so good on the phone now, is because my first job was telemarketing for State Farm, making calls, setting appointments, inbound, outbound, stuff like that. So what happened was I got paid $10 an hour, which was a little bit more than I've ever gotten paid. I remember minimum wage washing dishes at the time was like $7.25, around $8 an hour. So I was getting paid $10 an hour, okay? This is when the light bulb hit, and it really changed my life, my income. I made the most income at that time I've ever made, because $10 an hour. My boss says, Chris, you set an appointment for me, right? You set an appointment. It's like $15. $15. I call in trying to get, offering quotes for insurance, setting up the appointment, stuff like that. $15. So one day, I'm working, I'm making $10 an hour, setting an appointment. I'm like, wait a second, light bulb went off. That's like $25 an hour if I can do an appointment every single hour. So it hit that where I'm like, okay, the more calls I make, the more appointments I set. The more appointments I set, the more deals they close, and I got a little extra commission on top of that. So that's what kind of started off my sales. The gears were turning. It's like, instead of going in, punching into work, clocking in, right, getting paid hourly, I would actually get paid on what I could produce. So light bulb went off. So ended up getting licensed in insurance because I got really good on the phones, and ended up killing it, breaking records. I remember they said, yeah, if you can get 12 sales in a month, it's really good. I ended up getting like 20 my first month, and escalated. Got into the car business. When I got into the car business, became the top sales guy at the stores I worked at, broke some records, stuff like that. So that was always fun. So sales will change your life. Like if you're in a high commission sales, whether it's real estate, the car business, solar, anything like that, you can make over $1,000 in a day, right? Which is crazy. Like, if you don't sell anything, you make no money. But if you do sell, you master the art of the meet and greet, how to talk to someone, how to interact, how to build trust, build rapport, and just build the value. Like when the value exceeds the price, that is when the customer ends up doing business. So that's very important. And guys, sales changed my life. So I was able to go from making minimum wage to making that $10 an hour plus my little commission. Then I was making around 30, I think it was about 30 grand a year at that time for State Farm. And then slowly up to 40. And I'm on top of the world. I literally more than doubled. In my head, 40 grand a year was a lot because my dad said go to college to make 50 grand a year. Get your 4-year degree, you can make $50,000, right? So in my head, I'm like, man, I'm doing good. And then I got in the car business. Car business is higher commission, so that's when my first year I was making like 70, 75, then 80, 90, and I eventually made over 100 in the car business. And it's just crazy. I feel blessed, but it's just the power of being able to speak, being able to talk to people, being able to close deals, being able to sell. So if you're in sales, guys, there's no cap, there's no limit. And if you're not in sales, if you want to be able to write your own paycheck, right, produce your own income, create your own worth, definitely get into sales. I would recommend getting into like an entry-level position because you're going to have to go through a lot of reps. When you're new at something, you're not good at it, right? In order to get good at it, you got to go through reps. How fast is it going to take you to get brand new, not good at something, to good? How fast is it going to take? It's all up to you. How bad do you want it, right? And it's not about where you're at right now. It's about where you're going. Successful people, they're very visionary. They can see where they're going in advance. So I escalated quickly through sales, my income, my confidence, everything like that. I didn't even have a plan. I didn't envision where I was going. Life just kind of took me there. So if you guys can envision where you're going, write it down and really close your eyes. Like, okay, imagine the person that you're going to be in 5 years from now, like that successful salesperson, businessman, entrepreneur, 5 years from now. Imagine that person, right? Close your eyes. You can see what they look like, how they talk, how they dress, how they act. If you can imagine that person and then now chase it right now and try to become it now, start talking, walking, acting like them, right? A wise man once told me, act the way you want to feel, soon you'll feel the way you act. Whew. Guys, if you want to write that one down, act the way you want to feel, soon you will feel the way you act, okay? And transitioning into sales when I was making a bunch of income and stuff like that, the income was great, but there's people that don't make a lot of money that are happy, and there's people that make a lot of money that aren't happy. So just finding peace and happiness within yourself is very important, just in life in general, right? And there comes a point where, like, let's say you're working an hourly job, or you want to get into sales, or you're in sales and you're going through a rut. You're going to get through it, but eventually there's going to be a point where you just want to draw a line through the sand, and you're like, enough is enough. I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck anymore. I don't want to just, survive and thrive, right? You guys, you're built for greatness. Stop playing small. Some of you guys are playing small. It doesn't look good on you. It doesn't look good on you. You don't wear it well playing small. You really don't. So that's one of my mentors, Andy Elliott, actually told me. He goes, Chris, playing small doesn't look good on you, man. Like, why are you wearing it? Why are you playing small, right? So then when I got to think bigger, when you think bigger, you do bigger, you take massive action. A lot of people, they'll watch content. If some of you guys are watching this content for entertainment, thank you for the view. Thank you. But don't watch this for entertainment, guys. Watch this content to absorb it, retain it, and then apply it, okay? So those are things you got to do. So when it comes to sales, when it comes to getting your income up, you got to ask yourself, are you attracting success? Are you attracting money? Are you turning it off? Because for a short period of time, I was turning it off. What does attracting success and money look like? What does that look like, right? Success and money, they're attracted to people that are jacked up, that are fired up, that are happy, that are loving life. So if you're not happy, you're not loving life, you're not jacked up, you're not fired up, you got to do things that are going to get you happy, jacked up, fired up. Today's day one. I'm starting 75 hard challenge. If you don't know what it is, it's where you drink a gallon of water a day. You got to read 10 minutes a day. You got to do 2 workouts, one inside, one outside. You have to stick to a diet. So if you break one of the rules, you actually got to start over from day one. So doing 75 hard starting today. And you got to take a progress pic. I actually tried doing it yesterday. I forgot to take a progress pic. So starting all over day one, holding myself accountable. But yeah, so those are the things you got to do if you want to be successful, if you want to get money. You got to be jacked up, fired up, loving life. You got to attract money and attract success, right? So guys, those are the things that you want to do. And if you are in sales or you want to get into sales, one thing about me that I had to learn is you have to be a good speaker. Like right now, I'm not the best speaker in the world. I think I have a lot of room for improvement. But if you were to hear me 3-4 years ago, how I spoke in front of the camera, how I spoke in person, to where I'm at now, there's quite a bit of change. There's quite a bit of difference. And the best part is I'm just getting warmed up. Like there's a lot of room for me to grow if I keep practicing and growing every day. But if you want to get into sales, you want to earn a high level of income, you have to be a good speaker. You got to work on your speaking. You got to be a great communicator, master communicator. Whether that means being able to text people back properly, right? Don't leave people on red. Text them back. Always be the last person to text. Make the phone call. Don't just be texting. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone, make a phone call, reply to your emails. Communication is key. And when you're in person, you're interacting with them, be a great communicator. Pronounce your words very properly. I used to, even from a small town, for some reason, I used to talk kind of ghetto. I don't know why. Maybe I was hanging around the wrong people, but just pronouncing your words properly, right? Read the room. It depends who you're at. So it depends where you're at. So, there's always that saying, you become the 5 people you hang around, right? Like birds of a feather flock together. Tell me who you hang out with, I'll tell you who you are. So kind of who are you hanging out with? And one thing that Andy always talks about is always try to compete up. So if you're in a room of people or your friends, let's say you have 5 friends, are you the most successful of those 5 friends? Are you the least successful, right? There's good and bad to both, but if you're the top, highest, and you're the most successful of your circle, don't cut those people out, but it might be time to find a different circle to compete up, right? Because a big mistake that a lot of people make is that they think they've made it. That's what keeps people from going to the next level, is they think they've made it. They don't go back to zero. Like let's say you're making 100 grand, 200 grand, right? That's really good income. I'm not saying that's not great income. That is amazing, phenomenal income. If you're hanging around people that are making less than 100K or 50K, right? But if you're making 100 or 200K and you step into a room where no one's earning less than $1 million, completely different perspective. I remember in the car business, I was making 7-8 grand a month. Thought I was amazing because I was one of the top, guys at the dealership. I go to a seminar, get surrounded by guys that are making 20, 30, 50 grand a month. I was like, wow, I feel small. Okay. So then I start earning crazy income. I remember the most I was making was like 20 grand a month in the car business. And I get into a room recently. It was May of this year. It was a real estate event. A lot of money in real estate investing. And these people are earning millions. There's 8-figure, 9-figure earners earning millions. Made me feel super small, but I got to pick their brain, learn a lot of advice. And some of the advice they gave me that was very powerful. Let's say you go to an event, you watch a YouTube video like this. Take 3 things, the top 3 things that you can take away from it and apply it immediately. Because there's so much information out there, whether it's on YouTube, whether you bought a training course, right? Or you go to a live seminar, an event, there's so much information that you could have information overload, and the confused mind does nothing. So one of the biggest advice that I took away was pick like the top 3 things that can help you the most and work on that. So whether that's being jacked up, fired up, being happy, loving life, whether that's working on your speaking, working on your communicating, whatever that is for you, those are the things that are going to be really helpful. That's going to help you scale and grow in business as an entrepreneur or as a sales professional. And if you are in sales, a lot of people, when they ask you, what do you do for a living? I used to say, I'm just a car salesman, or I'm a salesman. I kind of had, because there's always a negative connotation with the salesman. And then eventually, it was like years later, probably about a year ago, that actually clicked in my head. It's like, why am I putting myself down saying, oh, I'm just a salesman, right? If you can trick your mind and train your mind to go from being a salesperson to a business professional, It's a total different mindset because everyone hates salesmen. I don't know what it is. There's a negative connotation with, unless you're a salesman and you love salesmen. But even still, you're like, he's a salesman, right? So if you're a salesperson, think of yourself, man or woman, as a business professional, a sales professional, an entrepreneur. If you work for a company, think of yourself as a business within a business, right? Instead of just relying on the leads that they give you, generating your own leads, whether that's going out in the community, door knocking, cold calling, networking at events, social media. Social media is free, right? It's actually part of the reason I'm making this podcast, to get out. You got to get out on social media. And the more you do it, the easier it's going to become. Because obviously getting in front of the camera is going to be a little bit uncomfortable at first, but you got to get out of your comfort zone. I'm sure a lot of you guys know David Goggins. If you don't know David Goggins, he always talks about being uncomfortable, right? Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I'm sure you guys have heard that before. And a lot of the stuff I'm telling you guys, you've probably heard before, right? You've probably heard some stuff before, but you know what? Maybe you need a refresher. Maybe you need to go back to zero. Maybe some things that I'm talking about, you forgot about. If you're a salesperson, a business professional, an entrepreneur, right? So go back to the basics. Sometimes you got to go back to the basics. I remember in the car business, if I ever had a bad month, like I had a huge month, made a lot of sales, and the next month, it was kind of a little bit lower. One of my mentors, his name is Edwin, he was my manager. He said, Chris, go back to zero. Pretend it's your first day. Pretend this is your first month and you're trying to prove yourself. Because, once you hit like a high level of sales or you broke a record, you're the number one guy, sometimes you're like, yeah, I made it, or I'm really good. And then now you're overthinking it, or you're trying to manage your own deals instead of going back to square one, right? Or maybe you know too much, you're overthinking things. So if anyone's going through a slump and you're in sales, just go back to the basics. Go back to the drawing board. Get your intro down, your sales pitch down. My biggest thing is, for me, because I've been selling for so long, I always sound like a salesman. I sound really salesy, so I'm trying to work on that and trying to be more relaxed, more just like chill, because I kind of come off as not high pressure, but really salesy, according to my wife. So I'm working on that. That's going to be my next focus, moving forward. But if you can have that enthusiasm, that passion, and not sound salesy, but if you're just getting into sales, you're learning sales, you're gonna sound salesy because you're learning how to sell. You don't know how to sell yet. Once you learn how to sell, it's a matter of learning how to close. That's a whole different topic. That's a whole nother video, because closing is one thing, selling is one thing, but closing is another. Like selling, you get them interested in the product. Closing, the C in closing stands for cash, money. That's how you get paid, is by closing deals. So I just wanted to make this video about, sales professionals, business owners, entrepreneurs, just going back to the basics. Anyone that wants to get into sales, it's going to change your life. It's going to be scary at first, absolutely. I remember when I switched to car sales, it was commission only. That's how most sales jobs are, commission only. And everyone told me not to do it. My dad said not to do it. What if you don't sell cars? You're not going to make any money. The only person who said, well, what if you do sell a bunch of cars? My wife said, Chris, what if you sell a bunch of cars? What's going to happen? I'm going to make a lot of money. Okay, go sell some cars. So, guys, if you want to get into sales, you want to write your own paycheck and, have your actions determine your income, not just clock in, get it paid hourly. If you want to do that, get into sales. It's going to change your life. I recommend going on Indeed, creating a resume if you don't have one. If you need help creating a resume, if you don't know how to, just look up some stuff on YouTube or on Google, or you can shoot me a DM, text me, I can help you, create a good resume. But a lot of times, a resume is one thing, but if you actually show up to a job, let's say you apply, you just show up. Like, you build the courage, the confidence to show up to the building, say, hey, I'm looking for the manager. This got me hired numerous times. Hey, I'm looking for the manager. What can I do for you? Oh, I'm looking for the manager. I applied online. I just wanted to come in, introduce myself, shake his hand, introduce the name with the face with the application. Yeah, you can look at my resume and my application, but I want you to introduce myself, show you that I have the courage and the confidence to come in and meet you in person versus just waiting for a phone call back to schedule an interview. Even if you don't have time to interview today, I just want to introduce myself. Do that. Try that. You're going to get hired on the spot. I guarantee it. When I was a coach for the Elliott Group, I had countless people. I've coached probably, not even kidding, at least 30 people I have coached under my belt to getting hired on the spot. Never done sales before. I told them to dress like they're going to court. Put on a suit and tie, right? You can apply online or literally just show up. Get the courage, show up and say, hey, looking for the manager. And the receptionist says, okay, yeah, have a seat right there. Don't have a seat. Don't sit down. Receptionist is like, yeah, have a seat right there. Okay, yeah, thank you. I'm going to wait right here. You're looking around. You're alert. You're alive. You feel great. I had the receptionist say, yeah, you can sit down. They'll be right with you. I'm good. I'm sure he'll be here soon. You're ready. You're alert. You're ready to attack. The manager comes up. You're like, hey, how's it going? It's like, who is this guy? Every business, think about this. Every business out there, if you're a business owner, you can attest to this. If you're a sales manager, you can attest to this. Every single business that has sales or just a business in general, they are waiting for someone to walk in and be that miracle, to be that difference maker, to just change the company, to change the culture, to come in and take action. They're waiting for people like that. So if you can show up and be that person, you're going to get hired. And if you're willing to put in the work, hustle, grind, work hard, you're going to do really well. Because when talent doesn't work hard, hard work beats talent. When talent doesn't work hard, right? If you work hard, I've seen some people make it with no talent. If you have talent, you got to make sure you're still grinding. But if you can work hard and you can train and get the talent by practicing at home, training for 15 minutes a day, only 15 minutes, you're going to do really well in sales. You're going to change your life. You're going to earn over 100K. Might not happen the first year, but you're going to get pretty close. You might take my soul and make over 100K your first year in sales, right? But every company needs a good salesperson. Doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter if it's selling personal training, selling gym memberships, selling insurance, life insurance, solar sales, car sales, real estate. There's no limit on how much you can make when you're in sales. You write your own paycheck. That's why I've been in sales for about 7 years now. Can't get out of it. It's a lifestyle. It's not a job. Some could say it's a career, but when you make it a lifestyle, that's when it's game over. Okay? And I just wanted to end it with that. So if you guys need some help, if you guys want to get into sales, or if you're in sales and you need some advice or who to turn to, some good mentors to be like Andy Elliott, Andy Frisella, David Goggins, right? Ed Milet. Those are the main guys that I follow. And I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Guys, it's all about networking. So feel free to DM me, right? Shoot me a text. My number is 262-745-3795. If you're in Arizona and you're an entrepreneur, you're a sales professional, you want to network, hit me up. See, I'm dressed in a t-shirt because I'm about to hit the gym. And I hope you guys have a great night if you're watching this at night. If you guys are watching this in the morning to get jacked up, fired up for the day, hope you guys have a great day. Hope you guys stay hydrated. When you guys drink a gallon of water, you guys are going to have a lot of energy. So make sure you guys are taking care of yourself. I appreciate you watching this podcast. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, network out there, and have a good night. Have a good day. Take care.